It's me, I'm back. It's Kendra. Today I'm going to talk you guys through my budget. This is going to be my budget update for the end of the month of November. So today, we just got out of school today. It is 2 days until Thanksgiving, and I get paid from my main source of income every month on the 20th. So my budget is slightly off from the first in relation to everyone else's. So I'm actually done with my November budget now, and we'll be moving on to my December budget. So I thought I would just run you guys through it here on the screen, how I separated it, and everything like that. So we're just going to move section by section, and I am going to talk you through everything on the screen. So right here you can see the month of November up here at the top. I separate it by month. And then the first category we come to is my income. So right here I did not list our employment, but I did put our sources of income just for privacy reasons. But right here, income number 1 is from my main source of employment. And right here you can see I have a source, and then I have 3 columns. A budget column, which is what I'm expecting or budgeting for. An actual column, which will reflect what we actually brought in, and then the payment. So for example, if I budget for, let's say, $2,046.70, but they're actually going to pay me, let's say, $2,100, I would then put in what I'm actually paid for it in this location under the payment section. So that's why I separated actual and payment, because if it turns out right, my actual and payment should match in the end. And the budget will be the one that differs slightly. So looking right here, income number 1 was budgeted for $2,046.70. That was the actual payment that came through and is listed right here. Income number 2 is my husband's pay that he receives from his university, and you can see right here we budgeted $663.31. He was actually paid $654.64, so it's actually come in under budget. But we were kind of expecting it. It can fluctuate depending on our health insurance and just taxes and different things. And then you can see the payment does match. Over here, income number 3 is any extra income my husband brings in from lessons or from doing gigs. As I said, he is a musician, so he does do music gigs on the side. This month was a very good month for gigs for him. November and December are really busy months for a musician. Lots of shows going on, holiday shows. So he actually pulled in $926 this month, which is much more than we usually have in this field, so that is awesome. And then we have income number 4, which are actually the lessons that I teach every month on the side. They vary depending on our monthly schedule. But if you look over here to the right, I actually made a separate section just for this here. So in my normal budget, obviously it has my students right here. It's budgeted how much they are supposed to pay for that month, and then how much they actually paid. So right here you can see when they actually turn it in, that's when I enter in the amount. And then this is actually auto-summed into right here, so both of these will reflect what the actual sum is from this category, which is pretty nice. So that is our income for the month, and if you look below each section, I'm going to have a total. So right here in this dark green it says the total. Our budgeted total for our income was supposed to be, or was $4,849.55, which is excellent. We were not expecting that much. Right here in the budget column, I usually for income number 3 have around $250 or so. So we definitely had a lot more this month. That's awesome. You're going to see it's slightly less than the actual and the payment category, only because of the few dollars that were lower in income number 2. So right here, our total for income this month is $4,840.88. So let's go down to our actual bills. So moving on from here, it is going to reflect obviously how much money it's going to take for us to live within the month, and then you'll notice at the end we will subtract how much our month cost from how much we earned. So let's go down to bills. So right here on bills, it is in blue, and I'll scroll down so it's at the top of the screen. Our top bill right here is our mobile, and we budgeted $132.24, and it came in right on. Our energy does fluctuate month to month. It just depends on weather, how we adjust the thermostat, different things. You know how that goes. We usually try and budget around $75. This month we went over by about $5.83. So our total this month was $80.83. If we continue to go down, excuse me, we have our rent for the month. Our rent this month was $765, although we did go slightly over just because I included a repair that we made into the rent for the month because it was something we did on our actual place. If the renters that we rent from decide to reimburse us for that, I'll take it from next month's, but I did want to make sure that it was actually included within the rent so I knew where it was. And so that's why it's a little more this month and why it's highlighted in red. Our internet, $61.94, stayed right on. PS View, we actually get our internet, our cable through our PlayStation. So PlayStation View is a service where you can get Netflix through it. You can get a cable service through PS View where you select your channels. And that's actually what we use. We don't have just your standard cable. So that is $34.99 a month, much cheaper than a cable package. Where we live, our water and waste is paid bi-monthly, so every 2 months. So this month we did not have that cost. It will be budgeted for next month. Below that, we have our renter's insurance, $11.55, and it has gone up slightly since we moved. We moved over the summer. Where we were living before was much closer to the university where my husband attends school, and it was inching up. It was at $9.25, and they were going to raise the rent to $9.75, and it was just a ridiculous amount. So we moved closer to my place of employment, especially since he is finishing up his doctorate and writing his dissertation. We could live here and save so much money. So we decided to move, but it did make the insurance go up just a hair. Netflix right here, $7.99 a month, right here. Spotify, my husband does get a student Spotify. It is his little treat every month, a little something extra for him, and he does use it religiously, especially as a musician. It's very handy to have, so you can download that music. It doesn't use data. It's very useful. So he does have student Spotify, $4.99 a month. We use Shave Club to save on our razors, $6 a month. And then Save As You Go is something that our bank does. So every month when we do transactions through our debit card, they take some of the money from our checking and move it to our savings automatically, depending on how much we've done with our debit card. I usually budget around $55 because that's where it was landing this month, because for our transactions is actually $82. So quite a bit more than I'm used to from that category, but it's going into savings, out of thought, out of mind, and it's kind of nice to have it there. I do like to tell my money where to go, but it's also nice to have that buffer and know that that money's going to be there. And then we're moving down. You can see the total right here. We had budgeted $1,154.70, and it actually came out to $1,200.23. So we were about, I think it's around a little less than $46 over budget for the month. So moving on down, we have our additional expenses in blue. So these are all basically bills, and I keep them in blue, color-coded because of that. But I do put these separate because they are not necessarily a bill every month. They fluctuate according to their cost, or some of it might be extras that I know are going to happen every single month. One of those things is gas. We usually stay far under our gas budget because of how close my work is and the fact that my husband doesn't have to go to school every single day now. It's very helpful. But this month, as I said before, we had that extra income from my husband, which is amazing. But it did cost us in gas because he had to travel for those music gigs. So right here we did go over by over $182.19. However, that is deducted from that 900. So they did cover travel cost. When they sent us the money for the travel cost, I just put it in to that income up at the top. So anything we went over has been covered in travel costs. So it kind of evened out. Down here we have our grocery budget. And what I actually do, kind of like with my lessons, over here to the side I actually have a completely separate thing just for groceries. This really helped me in making my budget. With this separate little box over here, you can see I have 4 different slots in this column. And this is what I budget for our grocery bill weekly, $77.50. And for the two of us, we usually either go right above that or stay right around that number. That's always our goal. And that gives us a monthly budget of $310 for groceries. If you look over here to the right, you can see where we went over, and I actually keep this column down here that shows me when I go over. This is also nice, for example, you know, in this final week, had I stayed a little under budget, it showed me how much I had left to spend to stay on that budget. But with it given that it's going to be Thanksgiving, I did just go ahead and go up near our usual budget for the week. Still stayed under, but not where I wanted to be, just to make sure we had that food for Thanksgiving. And so you can see we went over by $17.70. And you can see that reflected in our grocery budget right here. Our eat out, we budget $120 a month to eat out. We only eat out once a week. And so out of once a week, if there's 4 weeks within that month, and we spend a maximum of $30 eating out for a meal, that's $120 a month for those 4 weeks. We do not necessarily always spend that $30. In fact, it's often quite less. So you can see right here we came under budget. That is usually common for us. But we're not someone who eats out all the time. When my husband and I got married, I definitely broke him of that, of talking about, you know, it's a treat. We don't eat out all the time. This is something that we cut back on and definitely only eat out once a month, which is why I budget a little more for it, because we only do it, like I said, once every week or 4 times a month. So we stayed under budget. I budgeted 120 and we did 106.61, which is awesome, especially with Robert traveling. Dunkin', my husband and I have ourselves what we like to call sweet treats once a week for each of us, where we love Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee. I love it. Give me a small dark roast iced coffee black. It's my favorite. And then a donut to go with it. We treat ourselves to that once a week, and we just put it on a Dunkin' app that we have, and it rewards us for it. We do get free beverages for it, which is nice. But this is something we built into our budget for us because we knew we wanted something that felt like a treat for us, something we treat ourselves to, and Dunkin' is definitely that for us. And that just automatically comes out every month, so we usually always stay on budget with that. If you go down, Robert's eat out budget, because Robert is in school at a university, it can be very tempting to go and eat out when you are there. And so we did budget $10 a week for him to be able to use to eat out basically once a week if he chooses to use it. You can see this month he went slightly over by $6.07. I think he grabbed one extra meal after school one day on the way to a gig. So that's why we went slightly over that month, or this month, on his eat out budget. For parking, my husband has actually been under this for the past since May, so June, July, August, September, October, November. For like the past 6 months, he's been under this budget. But like I said, because of his traveling, he decided to keep his car close to him so he could leave and be on time for these different gigs. So we did go $4 over for his parking at the university. He does have a commuter pass, but he has to go by a bus schedule. So he wanted to make sure he had his car available to him so he could leave at the appropriate time to get to these musical gigs. Down here, I always budget other. Other are expenses that come up that you don't necessarily budget for or know what category to put them into. Other can be anything from, I have a really bad rash and I need to go get cortisone. I wouldn't necessarily put that on our grocery budget. Or my husband had a very sore throat the past couple of weeks, and so he went to get throat lozenges, things like that, or things that we need that wouldn't necessarily go into one of the categories I have above. And you can see right here, I usually budget around $50. We definitely went over this month, and yet again, a good chunk of that is either because of snacks with travel or drinks with travel, things like that that added up. He also flew somewhere this week, so I just put that extra cost over into here of things that went for other. So right now, if we put that together, those additional expenses were budgeted at $690 and we went over, and that was $963.47. Now, this month we definitely fell short of our goals. I'm usually, I like to say, much more strict on the budget this month. And I hate to say it, but knowing that extra income was coming in from my husband let us be a little more flexible. But also a good chunk of that money, yet again, a huge chunk of it is gas, which we said before is covered in income number 3. So, scrolling down, let's look at my debt. To the right over here, you can see where it says balance and after interest. This is not an accurate figure. I am actually going to tell you how much I am in debt here in a second, because I did make my extra payment yesterday on the 20th to my debt. So this is no longer exactly accurate, especially the car I know isn't accurate either. And so we'll talk about that in a second. But really quick, every month, like clockwork, the minimum payment to have pulled out of my education loan, which is this one right here, the minimum to be pulled out is $180. A few months back, I paid off my debt loan number 1. And that one, when I added together my loan 1 and loan 2, my education loans, it came out to me paying that company $268.56 a month. But when I paid off the first loan, which you can see is now blank here, I decided instead of keeping that money for myself, I would just keep that automatic payment exactly the same at $268.56, and those extra funds go to wherever I allocate them for whatever loan I want there. So that is also extra money I put every month because technically the minimum is much lower than that. My auto loan I also pay slightly over every month. It helps with interest and multiple other things. So these are the things that are taken out of my account automatically for my debt. And you can see it's automatically totaled right here. So debt costs me minimum $559.10 a month. So if we look under this, under the orange, that is when we get to total expenses of things that we budget for every month and do not change. So the total monthly expenses that we were expecting for November were $2,403.80. We spent $2,722.80. If we scroll down, there is also going to be additional costs because my husband and I do a sinking fund. So sinking funds are things that you put money back for that you know you're going to need in the future, and it's easier to save now. Examples of that are car insurance. I pay our car insurance for every 6 months to obtain a discount for our insurance. And so as soon as I pay off our 6 months of insurance, I immediately the following month start saving for the next 6 months of insurance. So since we pay it every 6 months, and it usually is around $600, I save $100 a month for that. It usually comes under $600, but I like to be safe with it. So those are our car insurance costs. So I put $100 into that every month, and you can see how much we have saved right now. So next month we'll put it in, and then we'll pay off our insurance in January. Over here you can see Christmas travel. My husband and I do live far away from family, and we decided this year to drive back home to North Carolina. And so we sat down together and talked about mileage, gas costs, estimation of any food we might get for our travels, any money we might spend while we are at home, and different things like that. And we came out with a figure at around $400. And every time we've budgeted for a trip home, we usually come under the budget that we allocate for travel. But we like to play it safe and make sure we have enough. So $400 is what we budgeted, and we put that in there this month, basically pulled from my husband's extra gigs that he did. Christmas, oh goodness, this one's a huge one. I still can't believe I never thought to save for Christmas. This has been so helpful. From the moment we started doing it, we no longer have to worry about, crunching one month or doing without. We save for it for a year, and by saving $55 a month for a year, it comes out at over $600 that we can spend on gifts for other people. I know that sounds like probably a low spending budget, but I also try and shop smart. I shop early, so that we usually stay right on or under that budget we have for the past 2 years. And then right here you can see we have a sinking fund for grad robes. Because my husband is graduating with his doctorate, you do buy and keep your robes, especially as a professor, which is what he's hoping he will end up getting a job in. You will use those robes again for future graduations, so we did need to purchase the robes. Those are actually $1,000, which is insane to get your doctorate, but totally worth it, and he's earned it. So when we found out that he would probably want to order those robes sometime in January or after, I went ahead last January and just started saving for them because we knew this was coming. So I found out by dividing how much money we needed by the number of months within that year that if I saved around $84 a month, we would come in with a little over $1,000 for us to be able to purchase those robes. And that's something we don't have to worry about. It is such a nice feeling knowing we have the money to buy what we need. So that is something else we put into our sinking fund. And so right down here is our total. We budgeted $639, and that is what it came out to. And then if we scroll down underneath that in navy blue, yet again, there's another total expenses, which includes the sinking funds. Now remember, the sinking fund money we actually put into a savings account, and I just keep track of it on here. But this is money that we cannot put towards debt. So we do add it to our costs of in our month, even though we haven't actually spent that money. So the total expenses were budgeted for $3,042.80 and ended up coming out to $3,361.80. So then let's scroll down to the very bottom, and in red are our monthly extras. I put them in red for a reason. I like to keep this as empty as possible, but yet again, this month has eluded us. We are definitely not perfect. Right here on a monthly extras, you can see right here, shopping. Now, I would love to say that's Christmas shopping. It was not. I'm definitely not a shopper, but my husband, as I said, and myself, we both are in a teaching profession, and where we live is very cold. We live in Iowa, and it is quite chilly. And when we were moving over our winter clothes from storage into our closets, we noticed many holes in some of our clothing, our sweaters, and so we acknowledged that that was something we were going to need to get. I needed to replace around two of my husband's sweaters. I needed a new pair of work pants because a pair of mine got ruined, and then I also needed some new sweaters myself. Wear and tear of our clothes. So I actually waited for a sale at Old Navy. They had a 50% off all sweaters and dress pants and things, and I actually went and stocked up then. That cost ended up coming up to it was $100, but then the additional shopping was also music for my husband that he needed for a recital he is going to perform, and also for the trombone ensemble that he teaches, and just additional costs of things that we needed this month, for work and for school. So shopping ended up coming to $250.33. And if I scroll over to the left for October, you can see shopping is not something that is usually in there. So this is pretty rare for us. Underneath there, you can see anniversary. Our anniversary is actually tomorrow. And so we didn't actually end up spending much of that. We got each other a small something, and we will go out to eat tomorrow. So I will add that actually to December's budget because it'll fall after the 20th. But you can see we only spent $15 of it when we had budgeted $100. So definitely under budget there. My friend is recently engaged, and so we're very close. And so our mutual friend and myself, we put together a special box for her engagement. And so that is included in there as well. I had budgeted $30 and I came a little over at $40. And then I needed an oil change, which I had budgeted $50, but I also replaced, I believe it was my air filter, so it came a little over $50 at $63.59. And so that brings the total for monthly extras was budgeted at $430.33. It actually came out to $369.81 because we were very under budget for our anniversary, bringing the total monthly spending, the entire thing. That means all of our bills, all of our sinking fund stuff, all of our debt, and any monthly extras came out budgeted to $3,473.13. And we actually spent $3,731.61. So what I do is from this total right here, in yellow you can see final. Final is how much I can actually put extra towards my debt every month. This tells me, because basically whatever is left over I immediately put to whatever debt I have. So if I would have stayed on budget, we would have had slightly more at around $1,300. I ended up putting $1,100 towards my debt this month. And what I do is I take the total monthly spent, which was $3,731.61, and I subtract that number from how much we made. And so that was $4,840.88. So once those two numbers are subtracted from each other, it leaves you with the remainder. And I put all of that remainder straight to my debt. So this month, what I did have in there originally, had I not made an extra payment at all, would have taken my debt from around a little over $8,100 or a little more down to $8,049. My loan is split up into multiple smaller loans, about four of them, 4 or 5, and it would have dropped the original amount, which was around $800, down to $685.86. But after applying the $1,100, that completely knocked that small loan out and just took it out of the way. And then the remainder of that was actually applied to the next loan with the highest interest rate that I have. It's also the next loan that is the lowest amount. So, for example, it's around $1,261.82. And so it took the remainder of whatever money I had from paying off that other loan and ended up leaving that loan that was $1,261 and knocked it down to $847.50. I should have that next loan paid off next month and be starting on another one, and those will be my largest student loans. Those student loans, I think I will have 2 left after I knock out this one that now has $847 on it, and those 2 that will be left following that are around $3,000 a piece. But like I said, the goal is to be completely student loan debt free between April and May. So right now I'm basically right on track. I'll kind of walk you through in a future video how I figure out when my pay off date might be. I will also be going through how to make this budget that I use on Google Excel spreadsheet. I use the Gazelle Intense spreadsheet as a model. Mine is slightly different because obviously I do keep it on my Google Drive so I can access it anywhere. I also make slight changes because of when I get paid every month and just a few little things. But that will probably be my next video. I hope you guys enjoyed catching up and going over my budget breakdown for the month of November of 2017. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I love to hear from you, and thank you so much. I'll see you all later.